In 2012, U.S. President Barack Obama announced a new administrative action to shield undocumented students, among other groups, from deportation. DACA, known as the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, allows undocumented young people to apply to legally reside and work in the United States.
Now, let's be clear. This is not amnesty. This is not immunity. This is not a path to citizenship. It's not a permanent fix.
On September 5th, 2017, Trump's Attorney General and immigration hardliner Jeff Sessions announced the repeal of DACA.
The nation must set and enforce a limit on how many immigrants we admit each year, and that means all cannot be accepted.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
There was immediate outcry and backlash to the announcement from people and politicians on all sides of the political spectrum.
The president's own party is deeply divided. Members of his base say DACA should end now, but more moderate Republicans believe dreamers should be protected.
8 hours later, Trump seemingly revoked his position, tweeting that Congress had 6 months to come up with a solution, and if not, he would revisit the issue. This gave Congress until March 5th, 2018, to come up with a more permanent solution for DACA.
After the decision to repeal DACA came out, DACA recipients were deeply unsure and concerned about what this meant for their futures in the United States.
If it's taken away, I'm losing my job, I'm losing the opportunity to work in school.
While some individuals and groups support DACA because of the opportunities it grants undocumented youth, opponents of the program call DACA an executive overreach and claim that immigration should be dealt with in the legislative branch. Thus, Obama's implementation of the program was unlawful.
In a content analysis of the New York Times and the Tribune content agency regarding the DACA repeal from September 5th, 2017 to September 18th, 2017, the human interest frame was very prominent among the corpus. In the Tribune content agency, the human interest frame makes up 27% of all the codes in the articles, and in the New York Times, the human interest frame makes up 21% of all the codes in the articles. Both sources discuss how repealing DACA will affect the dreams and lives of undocumented youth. The articles bring personal narratives or individual stories of DACA recipients to emphasize their struggles, to demonstrate why they are feeling anxious or upset, and to show how hardworking and deserving they are. For example, the New York Times shares the story of a senior at the University of New Mexico who has lived in the United States since age 9. He is pursuing a career in medicine because of his father, who suffers from severe heart disease. While he had plans to apply to medical school, he is concerned that now he will be unable to obtain any job without a work permit through the DACA program and fears deportation. In addition, an article in the Tribune discusses DACA recipient Maria Castatena, claiming that she has achieved the true American dream. She is a senior at Swarthmore College, succeeding at one of the nation's elite schools, and on track to fulfilling a career in education or law.
While both sources emphasize personal narratives of undocumented youth, the New York Times discusses the social, political, and cultural context of DACA recipients, while the Tribune does not. The Tribune presents these individuals as clean-cut, college-bound youth, representing who is deserving of a chance to achieve the American dream in the United States. The Tribune does not acknowledge the social, cultural, and political barriers to achieving such status, or how the repeal of DACA will affect American communities. On the other hand, the New York Times acknowledges the social structures in place that inhibit undocumented youth, such as poverty, precarious unemployment, poor access to health care, and discrimination and trauma from the migration itself. Furthermore, the New York Times discusses the social context of these individuals as well, not only presenting them as college-bound youth, but acknowledges how the repeal of DACA means the loss of thousands of healthcare workers, members of the military, and individuals who bring academic and cultural benefits to their communities.
The ways in which these two sources discuss the repeal of DACA and the emphasis on human interest frames may have micro-level media effects in the audience. The Tribune's personalization bias, meaning the focus on college-bound youth, and the lack of acknowledgement of the social, political, and cultural context of DACA recipients creates a lack of knowledge among the audience. Therefore, the audience of the Tribune will have different attitudes and beliefs towards the repeal of DACA. While they may feel empathy towards these individuals, they may not understand how undocumented youth face barriers to success in the United States, such as poverty, and place them into categories such as deserving and undeserving. Therefore, such personalization bias does not allow the media to fulfill its role as a sphere for debating issues and takes away from broader discussions about immigrant rights. Such fragmentation of information further emphasizes the political polarization between the left and the right. The New York Times' broader discussion allow for the left-leaning individuals to have more information about immigrant life in America, as immigration is typically a leftist issue, while the Tribune's right-leaning content may evoke empathy, but the lack of social context of immigrants takes away from its ability to act as a mechanism for social change.